In this video, we're going to talk about steps that can actually correct chronic constipation issues. And when you really want to look at correcting the underlying cause of constipation, we need to understand that that can be different from person to person. So I'm going to show you some popular remedies for constipation and help you understand how to figure out which one of these might actually benefit the underlying cause of your constipation and which ones might make your situation worse. Let's jump in.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
So remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you any medical advice here. I don't want anything that you learn here to keep you from seeking medical advice if you need it. But when it comes to correcting chronic constipation, it can be important to understand the possible underlying causes. And I'm not going to tell you what to do in this video because I don't know the underlying cause for your constipation. But if you haven't seen it already, we're going to put a link in the description below for our video on 5 reasons that you're constipated. And that digs a little bit deeper into these things that I'll kind of review for you real quick. If you want to learn more about that, you need to check out that video and dig into that a little bit more. Because the reality is that this is a complicated topic, and that's why so many people suffer from chronic constipation for years or decades. So if I brush by anything too quickly in this video and you want to understand more, in the description below the video, I'm going to put a link to get my book, Constipation Kick It Naturally, totally for free. So this is like a 250-page book that really talks about how to correct constipation. So you have to understand I can't fit everything from that book into an 8-minute video. So you might have to do a little more homework to figure out the situation for you. So in that video about the 5 causes for constipation, the 4 most common underlying causes were hypochlorhydria, which is low stomach acid or a person's inability to make enough stomach acid. We need that food to be acidified correctly in the stomach so that when it moves down into the intestinal tract, it will move through at an appropriate pace. When the food doesn't get acidified, then it becomes more alkaline, and as it moves through, it'll move through at a slower pace, and then it will get harder and drier and get more difficult to move. So this is a very common cause. The second most common cause was that anabolic imbalance that has to do with our circadian rhythm at the cellular level. Now this is not about how you're sleeping. You might be sleeping great and still be really constipated. When it comes to constipation, the anabolic imbalance can be more about where is the body sending the water? What's going on with the water traffic? Because the body is made to be in more of a catabolic state during the day and then move into an anabolic state at night. But it's very common for people to get stuck in one of these states most of the time, and that can create a lot of trouble. So in this anabolic state, the body tends to send more of our water through the kidneys and less to the bowels. So a lot of people that deal with chronic constipation are dealing with the problem because the body's just not sending enough water to the bowels. So the stool is getting very hard and dry and difficult to move. Now, a lack of hydration can be a possibility there. A lot of people don't even know what water's for. We're supposed to drink it. That's what we're supposed to do with water. So a lot of people aren't drinking enough water, but in a lot of cases they are, and it's just going to the wrong place. But if you do need to drink more water, it's important to understand, do you qualify? If your mineral levels are too low, and maybe you have low blood pressure, drinking a whole bunch more water could really magnify that problem and magnify other issues that we're going to talk about in a second. And the 4th really common cause is a bacterial overgrowth, either here in the stomach or in the small intestine. And if there's a lot of bacteria here where it shouldn't be, our bacteria should be in the large intestine. It shouldn't be in the small intestine. There shouldn't be a lot in the stomach. And for a lot of these types of bacteria, the waste product that they put out can be alkaline, which can be alkalizing the stomach even further and restricting your ability to acidify it, or alkalizing this intestinal tract as it moves through and can really slow down the stool as well. So a bacterial overgrowth is a very common cause for chronic constipation. So when we're looking at these remedies, we need to understand that what are they doing? Are they doing something that's beneficial for me, or are they just doing something that all the cool kids are doing? And the biggest mistake that people make is they'll look at a list of remedies and be like, oh man, I'll just go through those until I figure out which one works for me. And the problem with that is that if you find the remedy that really is right for your body chemistry, you might need to be aggressive with that remedy for a little while until you really improve that situation. So people tend to go with something, I'll do that for about a week and that didn't do nothing, I'll go to the next one. But sometimes if a person has a significant problem, they might need to use something for a little while before it'll actually start to work. So let's go through these and understand what each one is doing. So betaine HCl is very popular, and that's basically a supplemental version of hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is what our stomach makes to acidify the food that we eat so that we can break that food down and get all the nutrients out of that food. But there's a lot of things in our world today that can restrict a person's ability to make enough hydrochloric acid in the stomach. So a person can supplement with these betaine HCl capsules and supply the body with that hydrochloride and help the body acidify the food in the stomach. So if a person is dealing with hypochlorhydria and they're not making enough stomach acid and they use betaine HCl, well, that can improve the situation for them. Another similar situation is vitamin C, but in the form of ascorbic acid. When you go to the local store and you buy vitamin C, most times it's just like an ascorbic acid form. And that can be very beneficial to help acidify that stomach and the intestinal tract just a little bit. It's not going to be as effective as HCl, but it's a nice way to help acidify that intestinal tract a little bit and help things move along a little bit. It can also be beneficial by acidifying that intestinal tract, it can make it less hospitable for a bacterial overgrowth. If the bacterial overgrowth you're dealing with is in the stomach, when you put betaine HCl, well, that's going to make it less hospitable for these bacteria that prefer to be in a more alkaline environment. Their alkaline waste often makes the stomach more hospitable for them so they can thrive. So when a person puts HCl in the stomach, it can be benefiting both of these situations. So the thing is, with vitamin C, you don't want to use like acerola cherry or something like that for this particular issue. You want to use just ascorbic acid. Now, ascorbic acid doesn't really do anything to lift the vitamin C level in the body like people think, but it's very good at helping the constipation issue if the constipation is caused by a lack of acid. Now, the most popular remedy on this list is probably magnesium. And magnesium helps a lot of people with constipation because a lot of people with chronic constipation are dealing with this anabolic imbalance where the body is sending too much water to the kidneys and not enough to the bowels. So magnesium happens to be one of the most pro-catabolic minerals that there are. So it pushes a person out of this anabolic state. So if a person is dealing with an issue where they're too stuck in that anabolic state most of the time, taking magnesium can help correct that problem. It can help correct the problem of where the body is sending the water. By sending more water to the bowels now, it's easier for that stool to move. And the thing that's confusing about magnesium is even if the underlying cause for you is one of these other issues, if you're not dealing with an anabolic imbalance, if you take enough magnesium, it's going to make enough water go to the bowels, and then you'll just explode out the back door and it'll lift you off the toilet like a rocket. So a person will have this crazy diarrhea from taking too much magnesium. So they still view it like, oh man, that fixed my constipation, but it really didn't. It just forced a bunch of water to the bowels, and then the person ends up being constipated again a few days later. So magnesium seems to be more beneficial if the person really is dealing with an anabolic imbalance. And if you want to understand if that's a problem for you, we'll put a link in the description below for our video on how to understand if your circadian rhythm is off. Now, apple cider vinegar is very popular because it has the ability to acidify the stomach a little bit. Helps you acidify that food a little bit so now it can move through at a better pace. Here's the problem with apple cider vinegar. It's also very pro-anabolic. So it might help someone acidify that food a little bit, so then that chyme moving through the intestinal tract might move a little bit easier. But if it pushes a person more into this anabolic state and sends more of the water to the kidneys and less to the bowels, it's going to magnify the problem. So I do not view apple cider vinegar as a good remedy for constipation, really for anybody. And it might help somebody a little bit, but if they use it over time, it could really push them more into that anabolic state, and they could find themselves constipated for a totally different reason than was causing the constipation before. Flaxseed oil is up next. A lot of people talk about this, and the reason this can be beneficial is because the omega-3s in flaxseed oil are very pro-catabolic, so they can help a person correct an anabolic imbalance. D-limonene is basically orange peel extract, and we use D-limonene with a lot of people to help them kill off bacteria in their stomach. It's very good for killing off bacteria and helping a bacterial overgrowth. So that can be beneficial if this is the cause of your constipation. Also, a lot of times someone can't acidify their stomach enough because there's too much bacteria in there. So if a person used D-limonene, if they didn't have enough acidity in the stomach, they could wipe out some bacteria and help the body acidify the stomach the way that it's supposed to. Celery juice is similar. It's very good at killing off bacteria. Celery juice also supplies the body with some nutrients that it needs to be able to make hydrochloric acid. So celery juice is very popular with constipation because it's very beneficial for two of the very common underlying causes for constipation. Hard-cooked eggs is not one that a lot of people talk about, but hard-cooked eggs are very pro-catabolic. So if this is the problem for somebody, eating some hard-cooked eggs could help improve an anabolic imbalance. Now, if someone didn't have enough stomach acid to really digest those eggs, then it might not help. They might just rot and ferment and become this toxic gook mess that really slows everything down. So you have to look at the person and understand what's going on with them to see if that would be a good idea to use. Another great remedy is to simmer down. If you're dealing with a lot of stress, then you're pushing yourself into this fight or flight state where it's very difficult for the body to make hydrochloric acid. So if you can find a way to simmer down, then it can help your body make more stomach acid. Increasing water is very popular. So if that's a lack of water that's creating the problem, then increasing water could really help get some more water to the bowels. But if a person's dealing with this anabolic imbalance and they increase water, they're just going to pee all night. Like I was up 12 times peeing last night because the body's sending too much water to the kidneys. So increasing water is not always the right step. Also, if resources are low, and that's why the body can't make hydrochloric acid, the body needs minerals and other resources to make hydrochloric acid. So if someone said, hey, I'm just going to increase a bunch of water, and they wash out the small amount of minerals that they have, they can make this issue even worse. Now, one thing that we could do is we could put some mineral drops in our water. If you have low blood pressure, like if you test your blood pressure 2 hours after a meal, and your systolic number, which is that top number, is below 112, that can be an indication that minerals and resources are low in the system. And you might be able to find some mineral drops to put in your water to help you drink a little bit more water without washing away all the mineral that you have. And one other bonus is you might be able to find a formula, and I'm not going to give you a formula or a brand name or anything. You're going to have to do your research to figure that out. And same with the doses. I'm not allowed to tell you what kind of dose to take. You kind of have to do some research to figure out what's going to be right for you. But if you get some mineral drops, you can find one that leans a little bit more on the magnesium side, and then that'll be increasing the magnesium, which helps push a person a little less anabolic, just in case that's a problem for you. If mineral drops lean heavier on the potassium side, then that potassium is pro-anabolic and can magnify that problem. So if someone's going to use mineral drops, I like them to find a formula that might have a little bit more magnesium than potassium. And two of the most popular remedies are fiber and probiotics. That's almost the only solution anybody gives you when you search on the internet is you're constipated, oh, take fiber and probiotics. But fiber doesn't really do anything to fix constipation if these other things are creating the problem. It's like trying to push a ping pong ball through a metal pipe. It's not going to work. But if you can fix the underlying cause that's creating the constipation for you, then fiber can be really beneficial and help you push more stuff through the system. It's just not going to help if you don't correct one of these other underlying causes first. And probiotics are in a similar fashion. They're not going to be enough to fix the problem if a person's not making enough hydrochloric acid or they're in a severe anabolic state or they have this major overgrowth. Probiotics will probably make them feel worse because the good guys you put in are going to start battling with the bad guys, and person's going to have cramping and discomfort, and they're going to be like, these probiotics are awful. But if you can correct any digestive malfunctions and then get this stool moving through the system like it should, then probiotics can be very beneficial. So you can see there really isn't a remedy that's right for everybody. Some things that are going to help one person are going to make someone else worse. So what we'll do is we'll put links in the description below. You're going to have to watch through some other videos. We'll put one on 10 signs of low stomach acid so you can figure out, is this might be a problem for me. You can check out that video on the circadian rhythm to see if you may be leaning too far on the anabolic side. And we'll also put a link for our video on signs you might be dealing with SIBO. But right now, if you want to learn more about what can create these common underlying causes for chronic constipation, jump over right now and watch that video on 5 reasons that you're constipated so you can gain more insights and have a better understanding of what steps are going to help you fix your situation. I can't wait to hear about your results.